Good evening and welcome to Black Power, the podcast with me, Iffy Thomas. I'm an author, motivational speaker and the founder of The Confidence Star. This month is Black History Month and I wanted to shine a light on black people who have inspired me to inspire you, and there is so many. But today we're going to focus on Mr. Chris Eubank. He has had a huge impact in my life. When I was 10 years old, he came to the town that I lived in and bought an Aston Martin, and I knew about it and everyone in the town knew about it. And in that moment when I watched this beautiful big black man dressed in the most slickest clothes purchase that car, that's when I first had that thought, I'm going to get one too. Flash forward 20 years, I have a car similar, and the day that I bought it with my partner, we were ecstatic. But I think part of the reason why we were able to even want it is because we saw somebody who looked like us with one. Anyway, a couple of weeks after buying the car, we were parked underground at a shopping centre, and there was a young black lad with a white guy, older white guy, and he saw us get into the car and heard the engine roar as we put down the roof, and we drove off. And we heard him shout with his hand up and his fists clenched. He shouted, "Black Lives Matter!" And it was a belly shout. And it sent goosebumps all up my body. And I looked through the rear mirror and I turned back and we smiled at him and put our thumbs up. Because he wasn't shouting that because he was saying that we mattered. He was shouting that because he could see that he mattered. There is a power when you see people who look like you achieving things that you would like to achieve. So what Chris Eubanks did for me, we actually did for someone else. Black History Month is about celebrating black people who have achieved greatness in spite of all the challenges that we've faced. I am excited and thrilled to share with you this evening Mr. Chris Eubank.
What are you projecting? If you project greatness, then you may appear to be great. In 1984, Adonis Torres, the first manager I had in New York when I started to learn how to box, he saw that my personality was always quite gentle, and I would always explain myself to people. And he said you should stop explaining yourself, especially when people ask you about, how you're getting on for your coming contest. He saw that I was that I would explain. I would always kind of be inside out, and he said really you should guard that. And he said when people ask you how you feel, tell them you feel great. I said, okay. Now, I suppose being brought up in the church, as a Jamaican, you kind of understand the concept of being honest. The church kind of teaches you that, be honest, be well behaved, be true, have integrity. All of these virtues. So when he told me to be great, it wasn't just saying it. It wouldn't be right to just say it, especially if you were going to fight. Then the idea is to also act it and show that you mean it. Now in acting it, so how do you feel, Chris? It's right, I feel great. And you'd be like, yeah, I'm great. And you'd give the expression and you'd be true. True as in, well, if I feel great and I am great, then you'd act it. And so I began to act it when I was asked, how do you feel? And I suppose in taking on this spirit of being great, just a word, but what does the word mean? And how would you act if you should use this word? So I started to act this way. And I started to talk this way and project this way. And I was fierce this way. And yes, it was an act. but it was a real act. It was true to me. So I asked the question today. My peers now and the critics now say that I was great in my career. I don't think I was. I was just kind of acting, but I was being real. I was being true toward this term great. So today, I suppose, when I mentor and I speak to, the up-and-comings, I explain, what you want, you should project it. If you're shy, that's how people will treat you. People will not believe in you if you're shy. If you're out there performing, you have to be it. So it's acting in the truest form, in the truest sense of the word. Act great, and it's almost as though you self-prophesize. Shakespeare's quote, the world is a stage and we are all actors. Well, it's true. Whether you know it or not, you're acting whether you actually know it or not. If you are naturally shy, to the onlooker, you're acting shy. So it could be an act, it could be pretend, or it could be real. Nevertheless, he's going to have that perception, or the person will have that perception of you, that you are shy. So, in the world of entertainment, you have to act bold. You have to be. It isn't about trying, it is about being. And then when you actually are being, then you will resonate. And at that point, I should actually say that manners then becomes, the most important of virtues. See, acting great without the manners, it's trouble. Because, again, I don't say that I'm great, but greatness without manners, it's foul. It doesn't work. And it's not something which is, you can't pin it down. It's an everyday aspiration. You are what you do. So if you don't give somebody your time on one particular day, you are not great that particular day. So it's something you're always managing. Being a warrior is something I aspire to being. I was always able, apart from one particular fight, I was always able to act the correct warrior. Outside of the ring, most days I do well, but some days I fall. So it's a constant aspiration. I strive, I yearn to be a warrior, because when you are, people love you for it. They love your deed or your deeds, because it's an act. I was coming here today. I wanted to get here on time, and so I took the tube. There was a lady. She had a bag, a suitcase, and she took down the handle. She put the handle down and was about to pick it up, and I picked it up for her and brought it downstairs. She didn't ask, but this is how I've been brought up. 1, 2, as far as she's concerned, this is a great act. Again, talking about manners. What good is, being or having so much wealth or so much currency in a particular regard without actually having manners? Because people will only say, well, he's successful, the person is successful, but the person is foul. Manners maketh the man. It hasn't anything to do with the clothes. It hasn't anything to do with the person's achievements. It's to do with humility.
So that was Mr. Chris Eubank. I love what he said about the world is your stage and you're the actor. And I believe it. It's a bit like fake it till you make it, but the difference is you might fake it to begin with, but eventually the more and more you live into it and step into it, you actually become it. Isn't that marvellous? Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.